Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. We got a lot to cover with football season coming along. I know there's a lot going on the West Coast with the wildfires, so always prayers out to those families, as well as on the East Coast with the freezing. I know we're getting climates. It's really just spotty areas, but those are the things that are taking over the news. But I want to talk about these All-Pro selections. A lot of snubs I think we see here. I'm not being biased because I'm an Eagles fan, but um, there's some clear snubs we see here on the first and second team. So I think they got the first team right. For the most part, Lamar Jackson, Saquon, Brock Bowers, a rookie from Georgia, had an amazing season. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amara St. Brown. Interesting to see how Amara St. Brown stepped in there. Of course, shutting CD down for the rest of the season. I'm not sure if he was battling an injury or anything. Um, but I guess Amara St. Brown this is a really light year for receivers, believe it or not. But Amara St. Brown had a phenomenal year with 12 touchdowns. Um, Surprised Brian Thomas didn't get didn't get up, didn't get a look. I don't even know if he's on the second. If Brian Thomas is on the second team. Let me take a look at this real quick because looking at his numbers, he had a phenomenal year. Um, Let me see. Let me see this real quick. Yeah, did Brian Thomas make second team? Well, second team they didn't. They gave it to Terry, CD, and AJ. I guess the winning was a big portion of it, but Brian Thomas had 10 touchdowns. He had a better year than AJ. More touchdowns, more yards, and more receptions than AJ, but still got the nod over him. Very surprised by that. Maybe it's because the Jacksonville Jaguars are snubbed, but I think Brian Thomas Jr. got snubbed. Now, if you look at this, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Brian Thomas, all three LSU players who led the league in receiving this year. Jamar Chase has blew everyone out the water with receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Jefferson had a good year. 103. Of course, now he's splitting targets with Jordan Addison, who's a phenomenal receiver. Who Jordan Addison, I think, believed now. Did he get over 1,000 yards? I don't know. Jordan Addison did. Let me see if Jordan Addison got over 1,000 yards. I have to check, but I don't think he got over 1,000 yards. If he did, he sure did get close to it. He had a phenomenal year. But I think the big thing we're taking a look at is the first team. You leave Lane Johnson. There's no better right tackle in football than Lane Johnson. Penei Sewell, I think, is great. I think he's excellent, but he is not a better right tackle than Lane Johnson. They literally asked Lane Johnson to do everything, not just in the run blocking scheme, but in the pass blocking scheme. He's typically facing, and who he faced this year, he faced some of the toughest defensive ends in football. I'm tripping. What's his name? Myles Garrett. He faced Trey Hawkinson. He faced T.J. Watt. He faced who else? Ranka. But he pretty much faced all of the top. If you look at the All-Pro on defense, Myles Garrett, Trey Hawkinson, the Bengals. The Eagles played both of them. And then you look at the second team, the edge rushers, All-Pro. You got T.J. Watt and Nick Bonito on the Broncos, but T.J. Watt's who we faced. So three out of the top edge rushers in the league, according to the AP All-Pro, he faced them this year, and they pretty much almost broke the rushing record, as well as being safe in the passing attack. That was a complete snub with Lane Johnson. Don't understand how he didn't get there. Second thing is you don't even put Jalen Carter on the first team. Cameron Hayward had a good year. Chris Jones. He had a good year, even though he was out, I think, a couple of games. No one had a better year than Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was a force to be reckoned with, a one-stop shop. I'm surprised I'm just completely surprised he got snubbed. In the secondary, Patrick Surtain had a phenomenal year. Derek Stingley, he had a decent year. Slot Marlon Humphrey, I think Marlon Humphrey had a good year. Kirby Johnson and Xavier McKinney. I personally would have moved Kyle Hammond up to first team, and I would have moved Trent McDuffie had a phenomenal. Trent McDuffie up to first team as well too, but those are interchangeable. Linebackers, Fred Warner. Fred Warner got there just by name of himself, him being consistent throughout the whole year. But then Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Kyle Juszczyk, you got that, George Kittle. And then I felt like Terry McLaurin, CD, who got shut down for pretty much the rest of the year, and A.J. Brown, whole NFC East swept the second team All-Pro, which is interesting. I don't think that, like this, I'm surprised as well. Austin Eckler got All-Pro for kick returner, but I'm just surprised that the snub for Lane Johnson and Mailata, who made second team, were there. You're looking at one of the best rushing attacks we have seen in football in years, and you lead the two. You don't have a offensive lineman on that team on the All-Pro, and that's just wild to me. You have the running back Saquon, so I guess you're saying it's all Saquon, but we look at Jeff Stoutland and what he's done with this rushing attack. It's insane they left him off. Once again, all pros mean a lot. This is the third year for the AP's voting system. Voters choose a team, a first team, a second team. First team votes were worth 3 points, while second team votes were worth 1. So I had a new system. Derrick Henry received 2 first place votes that didn't go to Barkley. I'm surprised. But if you give Derrick Henry a first place vote, that means you should give the offensive line for the Eagles a first place vote, because you're saying the offensive line did a little bit more work to help him get there. So surprised by this snub, not really happy about it, but it is what it is. Hopefully the Eagles win the Super Bowl and we don't have to worry about who made All Pro or whatnot, because this will be a stamp of approval on Mailata and Lane Johnson's name.